welcome to the Always Be Testing podcast. I'm your host, Ty DeGrange, and I am pumped to have George Yuhba today.
Hi,
What's
everybody.
up? How
Hi,
you doing,
Ty.
George?
I'm doing extremely well. Just excited to chat with you and your audience today.
Absolutely, absolutely. George is no stranger to the affiliate marketing world. Been in business, 22 years?
Pretty much 22 years this October.
Yep, yep. 19 at Commission Junction, currently at Paylode, doing some amazing things. And yeah, excited to dive into it with you. So, really appreciate you joining us. And let's jump in.
Sweet.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. What's been new? What's new in Vegas? Give us the lowdown. What's
I
how's
think
life
every
out there?
I think everybody's talking about two big things. Well, three actually. The Sphere and all its cool technology and the U2 show that's starting, in September. Depending on when you're listening to this, it may be in the future, maybe in the past. Um, but the F1 in November, and the Super Bowl in come February. So who knows if you guys want to stay in Vegas? I do have my house here. I am renting it for $5,000 a night during those peak periods if you want.
Smart man, smart
Hmm.
man. Little plug. Is there a vanity code? Enter George at checkout or anything like that?
It'll be the code will be always be testing. So
Ha! Perfect, perfect.
branded just for
Um,
your users, Ty.
th there you go, there you go. George is always thinking about the user experience in all aspects of marketing, podcasting, and life. So there you go. George, I know a lot of folks would be curious to learn, how did you get into affiliate marketing in the first place?
Yeah, I would like to say it was by chance, and it totally was. Um, I had a friend who was one of the salespeople at this startup in Santa Barbara called Commission Junction, now known as CJ, and uh, was looking for an entry level role. And I had been in the retail and radio space for many years and was looking for something different, something new. And although I didn't have, the background in online marketing, because of my retail and my radio experience, I had to connect with people and I had to know a product and really sell a product, whether it's radio or retail. It's kind of the same foundation. So coming in, I went into CJ's customer support department and really revitalized the whole CS, the idea of CS, the calls, the FAQ centers, things like that. And some of those changes are still being handled to this day by CJ's client support department, the FAQs in the help area and stuff like that. So being on that guiding path of client support, using my background of working with people and speaking with people has really kind of helped set the foundation for many years after.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, George was when I first got into Commission Junction. I had some performance marketing experience prior to that, which I was grateful for. But George was instrumental and one of the many people helping me learn quickly the industry and get up to speed on it, knowing the landscape, how to do competitive analysis, how to think about improving a brand's health in the affiliate world. And just want to underscore, I think from my perspective, you have a very thoughtful approach, an encyclopedic, almost encyclopedic knowledge of affiliate marketing, and a ton of years and a ton of reps working with great brands, Commission Junction, now at Paylode, and also a really interesting publisher perspective. I think. Would you say that's fair?
Absolutely. I part the majority of my career has been at CJ's Publisher Development Department, helping not only the top publishers, and you name a top publisher, I probably had them in my portfolio at one point or another, all the way to new publishers and guiding them along from signing up to CJ to starting to going. And it's not just publishers, but also influencers with the content certified program. So over time, working with clients and working with brands has just become kind of steadfast in my
Hmm.
teachings, in my learnings, and even at Payload right now, because we do have two sides of our business. For those of that don't know, Payload is a perk center SaaS platform. So we have clients that use our perk technology to power perk centers um, on their websites, mobile apps for their members or users. But we also have the brands that I work with to give us the perks to be featured in our perk database. So whether I'm talking to one of our clients who's, you know, using our technology to power a brand, I kind of teach them kind of stuff around like what publishers would do. They have to market their perk center. They have to get their users educated about the opportunity. Meanwhile, working with brands and talking to brands about optimization, recruitment, requirements to work with us. We're one of those publishers that do have requirements to work with us, and I've worked with many of those over my career. So, making the payload pitch easier to brands and agencies and networks has been one of my core uh, philosophies, you could say. Because I've been in the industry so long, I want to make sure that when I pitch payload, it is done in the most optimized way. Because I know what a brand and the network and the agency needs to
Yeah,
know and hear
yeah.
to get the approvals.
I think you said something really interesting there. I think, a lot of times affiliate, I a lot of folks I think like to call it like a version of like a performance PR or a direct response PR, and then there's a lot of relationship, communication, selling, pitching, negotiation is part of that process. Whereas a more programmatic performance marketing channel isn't going to have that. And what I'm hearing from you is that you've become adept over the years at being able to kind of assess the situation and translate a pitch and say, this is why this matters to you. I know what your pain points are, or I'm going to listen and hear what those are. I know what your needs are, knowing your business model and what you need to grow, and here's why this matters. Here's why you should take notice, or cut out those things that are not important, right?
I'm one of what hundreds of thousands of affiliates in a network. So I want to make sure that in the little bit of time that I have with a brand, I can communicate our
Yeah.
strategy and
Yep.
our potential in a clear, concise manner. And I hope that brands also respond back to me as well. Brands that can't fit our requirements, you know, like just say that. Just don't string along. Just like let's figure out, can we work together? Yes, okay. Let's have a longer conversation to figure it all out. But if there's not a direct fit right now, and that's fine. Like we're not trying to build another coupon site. We're trying to be the best perk platform that we can be.
Well, it's curated, gated, specific to a community is what Payload's offering, right?
Right. And it's funny, you think about it, and that's the affiliate marketing industry as a whole as well.
How
And
so?
it evolves and it changes over time.
For sure, for sure. And it's a good kind of perfect segue. How has affiliate changed since you started?
Oh, I mean, we'd like to call it the wild, wild west back then. Different business models. Google was not the number one website in the world. Yahoo was. Um, it's very interesting to think of what online marketing was back then. Back then it was click farms and pop-up factories and pop under technology. And over time, there has been certain key things that has forced the industry to evolve and change. And you could pick certain things that have happened. You know, the eBay affiliate program way back in the day was the largest affiliate program out there. I was the manager of it at CJ for a couple of years during the peak period of eBay, and it forced publishers to get into compliance. There were rules, there were guidelines for the first time ever, and there were clear distinctions of cashback and points back, like that incentive model versus a coupon model versus paid search versus SEO versus email. And so that was like the first big thing. Now we started, because of that program, now people started to think business models and compliance. The next big thing was when Google did their first SEO change, um, and and even the first SEM change, where no more could there be the same URL 20 times in paid search ad. It was one like landing page URL for every keyword. That changed how affiliates worked in the space, because Google was a main uh, traffic source for a lot of these publishers, a lot of these business models. The next major change then happened over 2007, 2008, 2009 with the mortgage crisis and the collapse of the economy. At that point, if it wasn't for coupon deal sites and cashback sites, many of these brands and many of the networks probably would not be where they are today. Coupon and deal and cashback loyalty sites saved the industry and saved brands at that time. And content sites, like, they did not do well. Review sites did not do well during those times, because people were literally just looking for deals. So the growth of that market really was spurned by that recession that happened in late '07 through '09. And then over time, the addition of influencer marketing into the affiliate space has really brought different affiliates, but also over time, the same affiliates are not there. You know, the affiliates that were big back then are not the same ones that are big now. You could look at some companies like Honey or Capital One Shopping that are big right now. You know, they weren't really around 10 years ago. So, you know, learning that the affiliates, whether they're top tier, mid tier, or new, that also evolves over time. So people can't be stuck in a mindset of, well, you know, site number one was in my top 10 15 years ago and it's not anymore. Well, of course it's not anymore. It's evolved. The industry has evolved. Our publishers have evolved. I'm not saying that that publisher is bad to work with anymore. No, of course not. Work with that publisher. But don't think that they're going to be in your top 10. There's going to be other people in your top 10.
That's super interesting and might be a nice kind of flow into what are people getting wrong about affiliate marketing that you we can kind of talk through, and I'd love to hear your perspective on and maybe debunk some myths.
Absolutely. I think a couple of things. This whole affiliate versus performance marketing debate, it's the same thing. You can call a piece of bread carbs, but it's a piece of bread. You know, it is what it is. And there's different aspects of performance or affiliate or influencer marketing. At its core, it's the same. So there's a misconception. Oh, affiliate marketing is bad, but performance marketing is good. It's the same thing. You're literally saying the same word, just a different spelling. So I think people need to stop that and just get to the core of it's affiliate marketing. It is a tried and true way of promoting your brand across an online sales force of different business models to get your brand in front of consumers or users. So
Yep,
that's, I think, the big one offhand.
yep, yep.
A lot of the other misconceptions too, like every publisher is inherently bad. Like you hear that, or like
Yeah.
Every browser extension is horrible. No, that's not accurate. The people that say, "Oh, all coupon deal sites steal SEO traffic, so we're not going to work with them." Where did you get that? Some, white paper that was written by a content person to knock out their competition 10 years ago? Like, you need to really kind of
Yeah.
I've seen business decisions and changes be made off of rumors, lies, innuendo, misconceptions. Because people try to push people in front of the bus. 9 seconds to Tuesday. I just made that up. I don't know. 5 seconds to Mars, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
It's
It's a good,
so
it's the name of
common.
our new band.
9 seconds to Tuesday. We'll sign an NDA for that.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the big thing here is that people need to understand the biggest misconception too is not everybody in the space is inherently bad. And so you really need to keep your mind open and refreshed. Do testing. Do things that enhance the opportunity to start a new relationship.
And I think just to interject a little, I think that, we all concede there's a lot of reality and reasons why these misperceptions and concerns exist. Where there's smoke, there's fire in tons of fraud has existed in all digital channels, not just affiliate. Affiliate had some gross, egregious violators, as you've highlighted from your eBay experience, my eBay experience. There's a lot of reasons why these perceptions are out there. And I think you bring a really interesting point that you have to kind of take them as the data comes in now. It's a very different environment than it was, heck, even 6 months ago for some marketing channels and some businesses. Look at where D2C is now versus where they were 2.5 years ago. You've got all good, Allbirds, not to pick on them, but they're negative free cash flow versus some of the other brands out there they're going up against. So the game changes a little bit, hence the need to always be thinking about, accurate, objective ways to assess an opportunity and a partner and an affiliate, right?
Absolutely. Now, I'm not saying work with every affiliate known to man, but don't pigeonhole yourself into a misconception that could ultimately hurt your business, and
Yeah,
hurt their business too, because publishers are dependent on advertisers working with them.
yeah. Let's shift gears just a touch. Last time we talked, you had a really interesting comment around percentage of brands, I think advertiser brands that are doing it right. In other words, they are managing their program really diverse, really effectively, appropriate payouts, monitoring the tracking, all the long list of things that you are well aware of. I think I want to say you had a percentage of brands that are getting it right, and it was much lower than probably people realize. Can you maybe elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think when we chatted about that, I said it was probably less than 3% of the affiliate programs out there are actually managed like on all cylinders firing. I think a lot of brands think they are, but I think there's always tweaks and there's always initiatives that need to be done. And so nobody could ever be firing on all cylinders at all times effectively. It's impossible. And so I think people think they're doing a good job, and I'm not saying they aren't. What I'm saying is that, are you looking at all the recruitment, activation, um, uh, let's say optimization? Are you looking at compliance? Are you looking at uh, newsletter communications? Is all those things really at the optimal pace and cadence, and certain policies are in place? I'm gonna say no. You could pick a
George
program
is
right now, and I could probably
you're
tear it apart.
you're bringing the fire. man. This is, I mean, a lot of people listening are gonna feel the heat. You're saying what, 97% of you are not doing a good job? Is that?
That's not what I'm saying. Not saying they're not doing a good job. All I'm saying is that they're not doing everything that they can. And some of it could be resource, right? If you're one person, if you're an affiliate a manager at a brand,
100%.
right?
Often the case.
It's going to be hard to do everything at once, right? So you may have to tag an agency or your network to help you with some of those initiatives. So inherently, it's a time resource question. It's not a am I doing something wrong question. So yeah. So I'm not saying any network, agency, or brand is doing is wrong. All I'm saying is there could be so much more that they could be doing.
Absolutely. So maybe drilling down into maybe some categories of areas that are kind of that George checklist of optimization. And without giving away all the secret sauce, what are some things that are kind of like, man, for those that have the resourcing, and it's not necessarily anything ill will or obviously not out of effort, lack of effort, but what are some things that kind of folks often miss? It's a common thing that's like, man, these are just a couple areas where you see issues or challenges that could be improved and elevated with affiliate programs.
Absolutely. So let's start with the first thing automatically is new publishers. You should always be looking at who's applying to your program. Why am I stuck in a pending application for 9 months? That's absolutely ridiculous. Like, there should be like fines for things like that. Um, but
There's the
hold,
heat again, George. We're not going to let people off the hook today.
no, and we shouldn't. We should hold ourselves accountable, back and forth, across this industry. This industry can be so much elevated if we keep each other on our toes and keep each other to understand and learn from each other. And this is what your podcast and all the white papers that are coming out, I feel like we're trying to educate the industry more. But I think we need to have a real serious conversation with each other. So, new publisher, don't say no automatically to every new publisher that comes in. Like, you're going to miss who could potentially be a top 10 affiliate in 3 years. And, in 3 years, they're not going to be letting you in at whatever CPA you're going to pay them. They might have integration fees, a minimum CPA. You miss that boat because you're like, I only want to work with like the 5-star super affiliates or whatnot. So,
The timing matters of when you get in with a partner and when you get in on media, right?
absolutely. And especially for influencers, because quite frankly, if I'm an automotive influencer and I apply to 20 programs, and only two let me in, guess what? I'm only promoting those two programs, and I might start getting really good at promoting them. Then 6 months later, auto brand number three lets me in. I'm like, yeah, I got no time for you. They might be a bigger brand, but I got no time for you because now I'm working with these two really well. So it really is important for brands to really look at those application queues and don't be scared to partner with a new affiliate, even if they may have like a requirement to work with them. Test it out. This whole, always be testing concept. I love this because how can you say no to a publisher if you really haven't tested them out? Now, it might be early in their time. They may only have 1,000 users versus like 100,000 of their competitor, but try them out and see what's going on. See what it'll take to be successful. So that's number one. Number two, payout. Um, these companies now with like 17 different payouts depending on the SKU or the type of user. If you're an affiliate, I'm talking to all those brand managers out there that are making these decisions. Put yourselves in the affiliate shoes. And I'm not just talking about the cashback affiliates that have to figure this out. Every affiliate's like, how much revenue am I going to make from this brand? If I'm going to partner with a brand that has 17 different variable commission, or am I going to partner with a brand that just pays me 4% on everything? Guess what I'm doing? I don't care if you're going to pay me 0 to 10%. I'm going to promote the brand that I know I'm going to make 4% on those sales. So I think people really need to start looking at commission structures again. I think they become overly complicated. I think everything is about, attribution percentages and business models like pay the coupon sites less than the cashback sites and all that stuff. Why are we getting overly complicated? How can you manage that? If you're a brand new affiliate manager and you step into a program that has all these different um, terms and contracts, how are you going to manage that? So I think we need to start looking at commission management again. This idea of overly complicating terms based on attribution or some type of situation
Hmm.
is getting out of control.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think when you look at new publishers and you're looking at the foundational thing, which is commissioning, those two alone are, I think we could really come to the table with a better system for those two.
Yeah. Yeah. I love what I mean, those are two pretty prime opportunities to assess, look, analyze your program and kind of look to improve it, make it easier for your partners to go forth and promote you, you know, promote a brand with their skin in the game. So I think it's a great call out. I like what you said earlier about kind of raising the bar on the industry. I think this is something that obviously part of the intention of this conversation and this pod, part of the work that, you know, the PMA is doing that you and I are involved in, Performance Marketing Association, tip of the cap, obviously, to Trisha, who's on the pod and is helping there and driving that forward. Um, what are some things like? How do you kind of see how has that evolved, and do you feel like we're headed in a better direction as an industry for affiliate partner influencer marketing, all kind of rolled into one? Like, where do you see that going?
I think a lot of that came from the tax issue with uh,
Nexus.
the Nexus tax laws, and that
Hmm.
that was really the first time well, it's the second time the industry kind of got together. First time was around the code of conduct with the back then it wasn't browser extensions; it was full toolbars. That's an evolved change that has happened in the industry, um, and so I think people like the PMA, people like um, just some of the other industry resources that are out there. I think they're on the right path to getting us to not a full consensus. There's different thought processes and mindsets, but there's certain things that we can all rally behind. So, I think the big one right now is FTC disclosures. That's a legal thing from a country level. So that's a great thing to all be on the same page together as it pertains to influencer
Yeah.
marketing, as well as now the review sites have been added to that. So really great
Hmm.
opportunity there. The next big thing is the browser extensions and policies that are around that. And there's some networks that have no policy, and there's other networks that have extremely strict policies. And really kind of seeing if your program really wants to work with those partners, but you're on, let's say, a network that has no policy or just lets people do whatever they want, do you need to move to another network so that those publishers can be let into your program but with specific compliance rules? Or are you going to get a network to completely rechange their policy? Like, what's more attributable? Like, what's more actionable? So I think there's certain things around browser extension, sub affiliate disclosure type compliance things that is probably going to be the next big things after the FTC. So I think groups that can educate and challenge people to do better. Ask the why. Don't do the assumption. And that's a key tactic that I think a lot of people, um, just completely miss, and they really
Yeah.
shouldn't.
Do you think it's a combination of increasing and improving the standards that the industry agrees to, as well as kind of having a larger, more quality group of voices to educate?
I think you could almost look at it as like the Senate or
Hmm.
uh, the Congress concept. I
Hmm.
think there's representation within the publisher base. So, whether it's the loyalty publishers getting together and chatting it out together and then electing a representative to represent loyalty publishers, that might be something we look at is like, the perk publishers like me. We act way differently than other coupon deal or cashback
Hmm.
sites.
Hmm.
So, does there need to be representation from the SaaS platform or the perk affiliates to represent us in these? There's
Yeah.
what it's sad to say there's certain voices that are louder than others in this industry, and you always hear them and see their name. And if you're sitting there on LinkedIn reading their post and you're like, "Oh no." Like that's a problem because they're the ones that have that leading voice. You need to raise your hand. You need to be like, "Actually, no. I have no problem having a, devil's advocate conversation." People can devil's advocate against my thoughts and processes as well too.
Yeah.
I look
Yeah.
forward to that.
I
But
think it's interesting. Oh, sorry, go on.
no, no, but the fact is that I feel like more publishers and more brands should raise their hands and really have their voices heard. I feel
Yeah,
like the industry is still being only represented by the same 10 people that's been talking about the industry for the same 10 years.
that's very, very cool and interesting. I agree with you. I think there's not a lot of other digital marketing ecosystems that they they exist, but this one's different in that it's very human relationship driven. It's it's a small pool in my observation versus others. Um, Take example, programmatic, right? Like, yes, there's been consolidation and text flown in, but like in some ways it's by revenue numbers smaller, even though it has a chance to grow and be bigger compared to it. Um, then you have a need. What you're also saying is there's a need to have a diverse representation of each of the business models that can drive revenue for a brand in affiliate marketing. You know, influencer, tech, media house, so many different slices of quality content, coupon, deal, loyalty, and it's gotten more sophisticated, advanced, and it's like I love your concept of each one of those needs to have a seat at the table to be heard and be valued in their own way.
The one thing that is constant in this industry is change. And like affiliate marketing is the most adaptable online marketing system you could ever do. Publishers adapt so quickly to these changes and create new functionality and new opportunity all the time. If you do search, display, email and affiliate for your company as a brand marketer, let's say, email marketing really has not evolved that much. A lot. It's just about like, does this question mark go into a spam folder or not? Basically, or cutting,
How
slicing,
many
or
emojis can I put in a subject line?
right.
Usual stuff.
The fun really comes with like, do you split your audience, A/B testing and stuff like that? But that has nothing to do with the actual email technology itself. That's all your internal database structuring, and your CSM and your life cycle type of environments. Display, yeah, there's tons of display companies, and there's the pool for the display or for the mobile display, and to really, but it's really the same pool, right? It's just different entries
Audience
into
pool,
the pool.
audience IDs.
Yep. So, but that technology, it evolves and it changes, but the pool kind of stays the same. The people who always do display are always in that pool. So really, it's just which entry are you going to go in from? When you look at things like search, whether it's a social search, paid search on the search engines, it's really what the search engines or the social media company has available to you. Like, you can't really change them.
Hmm.
You're not going to call Facebook and be like, you need to change this. No. And you're not going to do the same for Google either. And, like you said, there's like 80%
And
fraud
they
in
can,
YouTube clicks, right? So, like, these are things you can't change. But in affiliate marketing, you can call one of your top affiliates. Let's say it's a coupon site, and let's say you're a big box retailer and you're just in their home decor category. You can call them and be like, "Hey, can you add me to like clothing and accessories because I'm launching that as a new category?" Sure. Okay.
yeah,
Now you actually get additional exposure on the
yeah,
website just by asking a question.
hmm,
Like, no other industry will give you additional exposure by asking a question. And it's based on the people, it's based on your relationships. So, really, this puts affiliate marketing as such a key tactic within the overall online marketing sphere, in that you could
yeah.
actually make real change in
I
affiliate. You're never going to change Google.
I've
So,
made a case like, and yes, Google and Facebook are needed and warranted most in every situation, but I
absolutely.
made a case that with affiliate, in some ways, it's more defensible because you've got, let's say, 100 partners, give or take, that you're invested in. It's almost like the index fund of performance marketing. You've got all of these options. You've got all of this dynamic change. You've got partners that have skin in the game. They're rooting for you. If God forbid one shuts you off, you've got 99 others that you can work on. Google shuts you off, you're kind of in trouble, which happens. Meta shuts you off, you're in trouble, and it happens. So I think it kind of lends itself to where you want to see the industry go with this representation of a lot of these business model voices, and also kind of highlights like how cool and defensible and such a nice moat it is when you built it up right with all of the diverse business models that can promote you an affiliate.
Having a diverse portfolio is more important in affiliate than it is for your stock, portfolio. It's
Yes,
it's
agreed,
more foolproof.
agreed. So maybe an interesting segue. You over the years at Commission Junction and other roles, you were representing publishers, but a lot of times you would interact with some of the best brands in the world. You'd see how they're approaching strategic affiliate decisions, strategic performance marketing decisions. We've had a lot of those great growth conversations over the years, but George, maybe you can share with the audience some of the learnings in the kind of always be testing, framework of what you saw that really performed well. You kind of touched on some of the themes earlier, but what were some examples of brands that just like really nailed it? You really were wowed by, or some things that maybe people could learn from those experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's for the people who understand that when you do a test or you do an experiment, you
Yep.
really want to focus on what are your key takeaways. What are you really looking to glean from that? So, one of the best examples, we had a brand, a retail brand, that did not work with coupon deal and with loyalty, and because they did not discount, in their words, and that's fair. When we when I got to start talking with them alongside of their account team, so I just didn't call them and start talking to them. I really kind of consulted with their account teams to really partner together on their next QBR to really present a test or an opportunity. And what worked out great with this is the brand, although had this like policy, was willing to hear the opportunity to test. So having them be a willing participant in the concept was fantastic. And that's what made the foundation of the test so successful, because the brand was like, okay, yeah, we do have this policy, but Let's listen. Let's hear what you have to say. And we decided to just try out one loyalty publisher and one coupon deal publisher. And we brought them in and we said 120 days. And why 120? We want to take out any seasonality of any kind of peak season that it was going through, whether it was Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Give a good chance. Like, don't run a 2-day test. Like, that's not going to help anybody. Really kind of focus on those two publishers and say, what do they need to be successful? So, coupon deal publisher, they need an offer, they need a deal, and there's the free shipping over $100, but there's no other thing that they could do because they can't discount. But what they realized is that they could do something unique and different in that they could give, with a purchase of a certain amount of money, they were able to go into their promotions department and get a free, like they were able to do a buy one something for over, it was actually over $300. And then they had all these keychains. And they were selling the keychains at one point, but they were not really a good seller. So they had like, I'm not going to tell you how many like keychains they had. And we didn't know about the keychains when we brought this up. We were just talking about like, let's figure out some type of different offers or opportunities that we could present. They kind of realized they could almost do like a BOGO, but it had nothing to do with the price. They weren't discounting the price or the product, but they were saying if you bought this minimum amount of money, not only do you get free shipping, but you'll also get this product. We also talked about buy X amount and then you get a gift card. So that user could then purchase more at a later date. Um, and they never thought about that. They never thought that that would be what a coupon deal. They thought coupon deal sites only promoted stuff with coupon codes. We all know that's wrong. So it was just educating the brand to let them know that that's a misconception and that we can try to find an offer rather than a coupon. And same thing with the loyalty site. They needed some, obviously they needed the cash back and all that stuff. That test was so successful because we looked at what are the key metrics. They wanted to see if it brought in new customers versus existing. They wanted to see if average order values could be increased with certain like the gift card or the keychain offer. And it was so successful that now they work with coupon deal and loyalty publishers en masse. But it was because of that one test. And keeping that in mind, any test you do, just make sure you have an open, honest conversation, be open to concepts, and then really understand what are those KPIs at the end of the test to realize, was it successful or was it not? Do we tweak it and retest or do we just stop the test? And that's
What
a
kind
big
of
concept.
That's amazing. That's super. That's awesome. It sounds like the results were quite positive, exceeded expectations. Then it kind of led them to open up more of that later on. That's fantastic.
And not every test I run has been successful like that, but that's just an example of a successful one. Even if it's not
Love it.
successful, don't just, the fact that they actually ran the test was a win
Of
because,
course,
it gave them an option or an opportunity to see if there is a potential.
when you're having those conversations, you've seen so many of those negotiations happen where a brand is kind of like, "I'm not doing XYZ. I'm anti this." What have you seen to kind of like um, open the dialogue to what's the aha moment in your view to get them to say, I'm willing to experiment and test with XYZ.
So a lot of the times it's based on specific opportunities. At the time with that brand that I had referenced, that retail brand, their biggest competitor in the space launched an outlet category on the website. And if you know the brands that typically don't discount, they tend to have maybe an outlet store with like secondhand stuff or like last season's kind of things. When their biggest competitor launched an outlet store, and let those other publishers in, you know, that was kind of eye opening because something in the industry was changing. The other fact is they actually had a their stock market call. Why am I blanking on those calls? What
Earnings
they're called?
call.
Earnings call. Thank you. They had their earnings call and they were down. Um, and they were saying, "Oh, well, it's market changes and it's consumer behavior changes." But was it really? So, we kind of used those two and say, "Hey, why don't we test this out? You know, could we increase sales for you? Because, according to your own corporate, you're down."
Yep.
Although our affiliate program, they were still up year over year with their existing affiliate pool. But could we help their overall company do better if affiliate became more of the pie? So
Yep.
that's kind of the concept. And then
Yep.
we showcase some of their competitors, who
Yep.
we ask them who their competitors are. We let them ask the questions. And then we showed them your competitors actually on, this coupon site, this cashback site, this like a trademark plus coupon publisher. So, with this search publisher. So it was giving the examples, literally screenshot examples of what they say their competitors are doing. So it's we not really FOMO. That's not what we were really going for. What we were going for is much educate them that there's an opportunity out there, and then we could test if they wanted to jump into that opportunity pool with just a couple of affiliates to see if it was worth it.
Love it. Love it. All right, Gio, we're switching gears. We're going into the fun zone and we're going rapid fire.
Okay.
Most refreshing beverage of the summer for Gio.
Limoncello spritz at Italy.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Whew.
Yeah,
Uh Otani, you're a baseball fan, you're an Angels guy.
I
Is he
am.
going? Is he leaving? And if so, where?
I hope that he doesn't leave. Obviously, he's out for the rest of the season, but I hope he does not leave and go to that other team in the city. But that team has other issues their own. So
You can name that team, but let's
yeah,
not.
the,
Let's
the
not.
Dodgers have their own issues with their pitching staff. No comment. But so I'm a big sports guy. Like everybody listening, like I love my sports, and I will always mad dog the other teams that are not my teams.
Love, love it. Uh, you're also well traveled. What's the bucket list destination that you want to add to the list?
Antarctica has always been on that list. There is a cruise. I'm a big cruiser, everybody. There is a cruise that leaves from Santiago, Chile, and ends in Rio de Janeiro. It's an 18-day cruise. And if the conditions are good, they actually do a 2-day stop off of Antarctica. So you can actually say that you've been there. And that's just one of those the cruises that just a place in general in this world that I would love to see before, it's certain ice shelves have drifted off and stuff like that.
What's your favorite trip of all time that you've taken?
Oh, that is so difficult. Um,
Maybe top three.
I would say the month before the lockdowns in 2020, I went for my best friend's 40th birthday party in Thailand. And that was 2.5 weeks of we did not know what the next 2.5 years were going to be like. I'd done international travel, but never to Southeast Asia. And we spent some time in Bangkok, spent some time down in Phuket at Patong Beach, and just, that was an eye-opening, incredible trip for me.
We got to go back, as Jack said from Lost.
Oh, my lost newsletter. that was a side gig that for those of you listening, there was an old TV show called Lost. Um, it ended in 2010, so quite a many years ago. And I used to write a newsletter because it was a complicated show. So I would summarize what happened in the previous week and teased what was going to happen that week. We sent it out the morning of a show airing, and I had amassed almost 19,000 email addresses over time just based on word of mouth. Like, can you add my friend? And there were people in the industry, like I had people like Aziz Ansari was on my like email list, like, and I told everybody I was going to delete the email list so their personal email addresses would not get out. So I actually did that rather than selling the list. But yeah, it was kind of a that was a kind of a fun time in my life. Great 6 years.
I was an avid subscriber. I was a big fan of the show, and it didn't disappoint. That's for sure. What show or movie are you most excited about that's maybe coming soon?
I would say the Marvels, just because I'm a big fan of the Marvel series. I loved Ms. Marvel and the twist that that TV show took as it pertains to X Men and Captain Marvel. So I've also been a fan of WandaVision. So I'm really happy to see kind of those three main characters kind of lead a movie. Yeah, so I think that's the big one to think about. And from TV standpoint, I would say I'm a big fan of soaps. And General Hospital, I've been watching for almost 40 years. The show's been on for 60. And, there's some rumors that there's a character that's been in a coma for several years is about to wake up. So I'm really intrigued if that's going to happen during November sweeps or not. It's amazing. Soaps is the only genre that's actually lasting through this writer's strike. So
Wow.
um, they're they're writing, they're acting. So the strike is not affecting that genre. So it's the only genre or the only TV and movie really that's coming out with new content. So
Wow.
the age of soaps all over again.
Or are they going to get that resolved? What's your thought on where that's going?
It's hard because there's different things for the different groups. The actors want certain things, the writers need certain things, especially around AI and compensation, around streaming. It's just a very awful situation altogether. I
Hmm.
do have friends that are writers, and do have some family members in the industry, and it is really affecting their way of life. So my heart goes out to them on the picket lines, but it's
Yeah.
justified. They do
Yeah.
need better contracts.
It sounds like it. Maybe wrapping up here. So thinking about all the great things of Geo, a lot of things that are known and not known. What's something that maybe people don't know about you?
That's a really good question. What do they not know about me? Some people may not know, but I actually tried out for American Idol season 4. Unfortunately, my voice has changed and evolved over the last 20 years. So I don't sing like I used to, which kind of sucks. So some people don't know that. And I said earlier, I'm from the radio industry, and people actually don't know that I used to be a radio DJ in the 1990s because I'm old like that. So, but yeah, I used to DJ hot AC and country radio stations.
I love that. That's so
Yeah.
cool. What's the jam of the summer or the rest of the year to maybe to wrap up and take us home here, George?
Oh,
Is there one
the
in
jam,
particular that
the
you
jam.
like?
I do like that there's this old South African song called Makiba that has kind of exploded on the US charts over the summer. And I love that the US audience is hearing some like, world music, and it's getting its visibility. It's not just that, we're starting to see J-pop come into the US, and that's Japanese pop, not K-pop, which is Korean pop. So there's a woman by the name of Anna Anya, who is really kind of the driving force of J-pop here in the United States. So I'm just excited for. I'm a world traveler, and I love music from around the world.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that that's coming across through like TikTok and YouTube Shorts, and really has given an expansion to the U.S. radio industry of what music, hot music, really can be.
I love that. I would agree completely. Love the melting pot of different things. When you're traveling, you get exposed to more of that, and I think that's the beauty of our world and our cultures coming together. Yeah, and next time something good is in Austin, we're gonna have to check it out. There's some good things
Absolutely.
coming through town, and in Vegas, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing Donny Osmond tonight in concert, so
No
gotta
shortage,
gotta
no
love it.
shortage. Awesome, George. I really appreciate you going over time and spending a lot of time with us today, talking about your awesome experience and insights and having fun sharing your perspective. I know a lot of people listening would want to follow you and learn more. Where it's the best place for them to kind of find all things geo.
Yeah, business wise, definitely on LinkedIn. So you can find me, George Geo Yuba. Um, and from the payload perspective, if anybody's interested, if you are a brand or an agency or a network that wants to get their perk into our database, just email me, geo at payload, LODE, .com, not LOAD. Um, and then so you could kind of see it right there at Paylode.com. And then if you are a company, maybe you have an affiliate program or whatnot, and you want to add a perk center for your users and actually be one of our clients rather than just being a perk in our database, would love to chat about that. I could even look at even discounting your initial SaaS fee um, if you sign up and actually use it. Just let me know you heard me on the Always Be Testing podcast, and I could hook you up with a nice discount to our SaaS fee to being one of our clients as well.
Love it. Thank you, George. You're the man. Hit up George for all of those things, and love chatting with you as always. And have an awesome rest of your day.
All right, bye, Ty.
See ya.